That time of year again. Winter in sunny Victoria. Just going through and doing a little bit of a garage tidy up in the fishing corner. And I've got the reels and the rods out as well. And I thought I'd have a quick chat about the combination I use, or the combo I use, in terms of rod and reel, for the cod, especially for the cod, and the natives. The rod here is overhead rod called Daiwa Laguna. Wouldn't say it's common at all. I actually picked it up for 80 bucks at BCF. And the reason I chose this rod is it's short. It's 5.5 foot, which is really small, and it's great for the kayak. I don't get any issues with being able to reach out my arm and reach down to the tip to sort out tangles and so forth. It's paired up here with a Shimano Curado left-hand wind, and that is the key here that I want to focus on, is left-hand wind. Why am I emphasizing this point? Well, as a cod fisher, when you're out all day, especially on long sessions, day sessions, and you're casting constantly at targets, and you're trying to get that lure close to the target as possible, and often the target is at a distance, you want to have your best hand on the rod constantly, which is obvious, and most people do. In addition to that, your left hand, or in this case, non-dominant hand, is the hand that just does the repetitive motion of doing the winding. And you can train this hand up. I often refer to the non-dominant hand as the dumb hand. The dumb hand can just do this all day long, and not change its roles. Your dominant hand is in the best position to, one, cast lures at the target, both accurately and with strength. The dumb hand is just repetitive motion, round and round all day long. A lot of people that fish the opposite reel are casting with dominant hand, but then they have to do a switch, and then they come over here and reel with the right hand, and it's just completely inefficient all day long doing that. So if you've got a rod like this one here that I used to fish for cod with, which is a old school Shimano Calcutta, you're out there and you're casting, lure hits the water, swap, and then reel in with the right hand. Lure is retrieved, swap back, cast, swap back again, and then reel in all day long. Now, that was fine for the first few years that I was using this, but that's not an efficient way to fish, especially if you're fishing extended periods, and I'm talking like minimum 5, 6, 7, 8 hours plus, where you're constantly doing that. It just doesn't make any sense to be doing this. If your dominant right hand needs to be fixed in this position all day, having to do that switch. If you do hook up on this form of reel, or combination of reel, you've got your weak hand on the rod when the fish hits. Now, anyone that knows anything about cod, most of the damage that the cod can do is in the first few seconds of when it hits. Do you want your weakest hand on the rod when the cod hits? I don't think so. There's a few things that got to happen. The hand's got to control the fish, and it's got to pull the cod and steer it away from any danger. You'd much rather have your dominant hand, which in my case is the right hand on the rod, to steer that fish out of trouble and to deal with the initial hit as you wind it in. Steering the fish is important around logs, obstructions and so on, and pulling it in, getting that initial turn of the head on that big cod, especially the meter cod. Dominant hand in position all day long. Dumb hand, repetitive winding. Another little good thing about this is that when you are casting, anyone that's fished for cod long enough knows that sometimes the cod will hit it in an instant, especially surface fishing. If I'm going to cast that lure and literally the moment that lure hits the water, the cod explodes, I'm in position with dominant hand, ready to fight it, ready to pull it in and play it out away from structure. Back on the other reel, the right hand reel, the problem is you've got to swap hands. And sometimes the hand swap might happen at that very moment that the cod hits the lure off the surface. So there it is. There's the combo of choice for myself. The left-hand reel, a special feature for me. If you're ever going to change to this kind of setup, if you're stuck in right-hand reel, as a right-hand person that should have the right hand on the rod and the left hand on reeling the handle in, now's a great time of year to consider making a change. It's winter, the cod are going to slow down, you may not do as many trips. Get down to the tackle store, invest in one of these if you can. It could be the small change that you need, especially if you're serious about cod fishing, giving you that little bit of an advantage over the rest, and basically letting you cast with efficiency all day long. A lot of cod fishing is just about casting with efficiency. Okay, and if you want to get that real true big giant fish of your dreams, if you're putting the lure constantly in the right area and you're making more casts that are productive in terms of being in the zone, that's great. You're going to get more casts in per day because there's less hand swappage. Something to consider in the winter time. Hope that helps. Cheers.